Grandmaster Sergey Shipov is continuing the comments of the 11th round game. Move 17. As a minimum, an unexpected decision. Personally, I had a feeling that for black, the move of the bishop b4 to b6 is one of the most constructive ideas, and white is provoking it, losing a tempo. After bishop h3, I didn't find a difficult countergame for black. Wonderfully from all aspects looks the long side castle. Of course, it's not smart to seriously assume that there will be the trade on c3. All in all, the dark squared bishop's the most important, the strongest light pieces in the anti-Moscow gambit. That's a well-known fact. One more surprise. Sasha is ignoring black's plan with the counter blow e5. The bishop on h3 wasn't letting it happen. Shipov is energetically using the two creative opponents' play. I think he's even offended. How do you underestimate my threats? I'm in a scary one, angry. As already understood from the comments, the bishop shouldn't be traded for the knight here. The persecuted got to the wonderful attacking position. A.Grischuk must hurry. Time doesn't wait. He now has 28 minutes to Cheprinov's 59. The move queen f3 should have also been looked at. Knight c5. Black is entering on d3. White must start thinking about the fate of the most important piece. Correct. On the king's side, the house is solid. Black's initiative in the center can be lived through. By the way, white has already an extra pawn. I'll check the strength of the house in analysis. You know, it can start shaking soon if Ivan finds the exact series of moves. Sasha shouldn't have played a3 and bishop g2. That wasn't right. The strongest. The hunt on the dark squared bishop continues. A smart decision. A.Grischuk is back on track. Felt danger, tensed up. Thunder and lightning. White won't get the wanted piece. He's worse off. All paths are doubtful, but it's important to play. I studied another way, bishop takes b6, but the battle is only beginning. That's A.Grischuk's idea. He's beginning to counterattack on the king's side. The pawn on b2 dies. Of course, black's pawn structure on the queen's side looks scary, but it's possible that white won't let it move with tactical tricks, and his own passed pawns must enter into battle on the other side. But is it important for black to capture on b2? The capture on e5 is more solid. Holding the control of the center, it's good to attack the pawn b2 a little later, on the basis of positional advantage and without complications. A decision of an older, experienced player. Later, black can strengthen the e5 with the rook, move the king close, move the bishop on e6, and only after 10-12 moves remember about the queen's side. The plan is becoming a reality. Looks like white has no real counterplay, and it doesn't look so good on the clock. 10 minutes to 28. A smart regrouping. The bishop goes to e2 to confine the scary knight e5. If white will be able to centralize the king, fix the rook coordination, then his position will get better, and moved on his own to free up the square c8 for his neighbor. It's pleasant to improve the position of the pieces with the tempo. It's not good to become passive in defense. Black will push through for sure. It's important to look for counterplay. The state knot is becoming real though. 6 minutes to 21. Cheprinovich passed the trap. Good also would have been, but on the other hand, white holds on. Strange. Why not on f2? Looks like A.Grischuk left the f vertical free for the rook. That's already a State knot dance. Counterplay on nerves. Let's just watch. The king is on the best spot. Now the pieces have to do the same. My prediction was correct, though it's not clear what's next. This is the last preparations before energetic activity. Now the slow move h5 could just be bad for white. The obvious move would be for black would be the king to go on g5. Ivan is going about his way. The weak white pawns are under attack. Obviously stronger would have been king f6. Sasha finds the best defense on the falling flag, but there's another 4 moves until the time addition. Another successful move. It was important to recognize the mistake. Bishop e6. There's no time to take care of the nuances. Better, of course, is rook f4 to finally trade the worst piece. The king has time to go on g5, closer to the tasty pawn h5. You know, it's not all that simple. Giving up the pawn h5, white is getting activity on the center. That's a very important moment. Didn't risk it. On the flag, moves like h6 aren't made. There's not enough time for calculations. And the smoke is gone. The time continues. White is holding on now for the next round of the difficult battle. The king is still going towards g5. No other chance. The pawn h5 should be put on the altar, and white should hope for success. A pretty strange doubt. It was hard to expect from Shipov. After the move king g5, the variations don't come out to white's advantage. Another offer to finish the game in peace. Ivan is protesting. He is easy to understand. Black is better off. Now Sasha needs to seriously study the active move h6. There's time to think. You don't look for good from good. And will it really be all good after the trade on d1? Shipov isn't so sure also. A hard choice. A big mistake. Looks like the pressure took its toll. Correct would have been bishop takes e2 with winning perspectives. In any case, only black is playing to win, and in the game, everything changes quickly. White's simple and obvious moves drastically changed the picture. White won a massive tempos and didn't land the black king on g5. Now black has to look for a chance to save. The pawn on h5 is a very dangerous enemy. At the first glance, it's possible to get to the goal with an active counterplay c5. Alright, only after g4, it's not a good idea to go into a pawn ending with a check on d3. The moment of truth. Ivan didn't stand the check. Forcefully lost. Knight d3, knight takes d3, and so on, and white pushes one of the pawns into queens. The pawns are distracting the white king. The h pawn can be slowed down by the knight from the square g6. The kings must thin out the pawn rows. The battle is going to a draw. Also didn't win knight h3. An accurate resource. Worst would have been knight g6. Here it was hard to make a mistake. The rows are emptied by hungry rodents. The last accurate move. To a loss led king takes b5, knight e5, and the pawn c3 becomes a queen. Here are the last few moves of this game. And a draw. The ideal of Sophia rules is made. This was a very difficult game. The opponents, one after the other, played to win, demonstrated the miracles of calculations and technique, and both are worthy of the best awards. The result is justified. On this note, I, Grandmaster Sergey Shipov, end my report. We'll see you tomorrow.